And did he say anything to that?
He did not. But that's the only thing I said in the entire ride was, wow, you guys answer only to God. You got a lot of explaining to do.
Well, I like to walk around bird hunting. I like to walk around deer hunting, hog hunting, whatever. And we've got an old family property we got under a Mexican land grant in 1829 in East Texas. And imagine I'm walking from one 200-acre piece to a larger piece, maybe a half-mile away, and there's nothing out there. I mean, all the houses down the road are my cousins and family. And,
Yep.
and they were really upset that a clear guy's walking along. I think it was a Mini 14 I had or something. They're like, why do you have a rifle? And I'm like, well, I mean, this is my property. I'm just out here walking around. Well, are you poaching? It's this idea that we're all bad. We're all suspects. Well, you know, what about them being suspect? I mean, what about our founders saying don't have a standing army domestically? I'm threatened by the way they're acting. I'm threatened by their guns because they're acting belligerent to me, the boss. I mean, in America, it's we, the people. It's the consent of the governed. And I think, you know, I mean, I see this more and more all over the country, where gun owners are treated like absolute crap. What happened once you got to jail?
Well, I got to jail, and the booking officer took control of me. He's a 22-year Army vet, and you know, he's like, "Hey, you in the Army?" And we had a little chat. And he says, "What are you in here for?" And I said, "Well, the charge is resisting arrest." And he said, "No, I mean, but what were you accused of before you resisted arrest?" And I said, "No, there was no charge. I was accused of resisting arrest." And he was sort of, you know, kind of incredulous about it. And he's like, all right, look, tell you what, you know, let me see what I can do to get you out of here on a PR, which is a personal recognizance. You know, I explained the whole situation to him. My son and I were just walking down the road. And keep in mind, still to this point, I was not read my rights. I was, you know, never told that I was under arrest until I was under arrest for resisting arrest. But the booking guy, he was a pretty decent dude and said, you know, he's going to try and get me out of there. The problem was it was a Saturday, and the judges or the magistrates that approved the personal recognizance bail weren't in until Monday. So I had a choice. I could wait until Monday, or I could post my $2,500 bond.
Yeah.
So I spent 10 and a half hours in jail while my wife ran around the city, $300 at a time, pulling money out of ATMs so that she could pay my cash bail because we didn't want to get a bondsman.
What has the aftermath of this been? I mean, obviously, all over Fox News, all over the internet, tens of millions of viewers of this. I mean, have you gotten any word back on I mean, the fact that you clearly didn't resist, but to show you a lesson, they're going to falsely charge you an incredible tyranny. Now they've backed off on that. But, I mean, it's just outrageous. Clearly, it's false arrest. What are your lawyers saying? What's going to come out of this? I mean, if we don't punish this guy, and I'm not a vindictive person, but if we don't punish this arrogant person, the sky's the limit. So where is this going, and what would you personally, because he'll watch it, want to say to this goofball?
Yeah, I mean, you know, what my attorney is going to do, I don't really want to go into, but here's what I want. First of all, these guys that were on the scene do not deserve to wear the badge. When they illegally arrested me, when they illegally took my firearms, and when they fabricated their incident report, they forfeited any right to the authority that badge holds. They completely ignored the Constitution. So I think they need to be fired. That's what I want. I want them fired. I want the police academies to start training officers on how to handle armed citizens. I think there also needs to be a change in the call centers. I think if somebody calls 911 and says, hey, there's a guy walking down the road, why do we just automatically send a police officer out there? Why not ask follow-up questions? Well, what's the guy doing? Well, he's just walking down the road. Is he pointing the gun at anybody? No. Okay. Is he threatening anybody? Or, I mean, what's he doing? No, he's just walking down the road. I don't think he should have a gun. Okay, ma'am. Yeah, thanks for calling, but you know, he's not breaking the law. If you feel threatened or he starts doing something that's against the law, please call us.
Exactly. But even if they drove by you and said, hey, let me just check. Okay, you're out, merit badge. I hear you. I mean, it would be too far and wouldn't be in his right. But even if he said, let me check your license or something, that would still be bad. But the fact that they pushed you around and took you to jail and said, we don't care what the law is. I mean, it's belligerent against our republic. It is outrageous what that sergeant did.
Well, you know, and the reason they feel empowered to do that, and I've learned this since everything hit the net, is because, you know, I can't tell you how many people have have commented and said, why didn't you just do what you were told? Why, you would have been out of there in 5 minutes if you would have just given him your guns and answered all his questions. And when you've got a citizenry like that, that believes you should just surrender your rights to make it easier on yourself. Ben Franklin said, those who sacrifice security sacrifice liberty for security deserve neither liberty nor security.
That's right.
And I completely believe in that. And yes, it inconvenienced me. The encounter that could have been a 5-minute encounter became a 15 to 16.
Yeah, but let me stop you. I see, because I'm a news hound, I follow the news every day. 7 days a week, I read hundreds of news articles. Every week I see where somebody's in a rural area and gives them the gun and complies, they take them to jail. I've done the interviews where a guy with no criminal record has a reloading thing in his basement, and he's showing his house to sell it. This happened to one of our writers in Colorado in the middle of nowhere, and the police SWAT teamed him over the reloading because it scared the realtor, and they still went ahead and confiscated all his stuff. Just because, well, it's scary, we've got to act like what you've done is wrong. This is a demonization, like the Attorney General said, brainwash people against guns. They are acting like you are criminal because you have a gun, period. And if you can't even walk through the middle of the Texas hill country with a rifle, this isn't America.